Coming up in this video, I'll show you how I paint the Gelatinous cube, which is a new miniature from WizKids for the Nolzur'S Marvelous Miniatures range for Dungeons & Dragons. Hey everyone, welcome back to Mini Junkie. My name is Jarrett. So one of the cooler figures I unboxed in a recent video for the, I think it's wave 6 of Nolzur'S Marvelous Miniatures from WizKids was the Gelatinous cube. And I think it's going to be pretty popular. And it's kind of unique in the sense that it's all mostly clear plastic of some sort. Maybe it's an acrylic, I'm not sure. It looks really cool and kind of calls for a different kind of painting approach. And so I'll kind of walk you through it. There's actually not a lot of painting to it because you want it to be transparent and translucent, but at the same time you want to be able to see like the skeletons and bones and armor that are sort of stuck inside the cube. You want to be able to see that through the walls of the cube. So I did take an approach that should help with that, and I'll talk about that as I go through each step. So here's a quick look at the final result I'm going to be achieving with this painting guide on the Gelatinous cube. So I am going to be using my airbrush for some of these steps, and I'm going to be using Ghost Tints from Minitere in plasma fluid and green. I'm starting out with the plasma fluid and I'm applying it very, very lightly because it's easy to overdo it with these tints. And I'm doing it not 100% over every area because I'm going to come back with the green like I said, and then I'm going onto the cube and doing a bit of a modeled pattern so that I can fill in the other parts of the pattern with the green. Basically, I thought that would be more interesting than just having a solid color. So yeah, here's the step with the Ghost Tint green. And again, I'm filling in, I'm trying, by the way, not to get it on this, even though we're going to paint the skeletons and bones and things, I'm trying to avoid them just for the heck of it. Now I'm applying it so faintly you may have trouble actually seeing it in the video, but hopefully you can see a little bit where the green starts to show up in a sort of patchy pattern wherever the plasma fluid has not been applied. I think you could hand brush these, but I'm just not sure, and I wanted to use airbrush for this. Now after this step, as I put them together, you can see how you can see the bones through it, but not very clearly, and they're just sort of white blobs. So my goal with the bones and weapons and things on the inside is to make them show through the outer cube, but not to paint them beautifully. Like, I'm not going to do all kinds of shading and highlighting because you're just not going to be able to see it through the cube. What you want to do is create some fairly stark, bright contrast so that they really stand out as you look through the sides of the cube. So with that, as you saw, I painted literally just pure white onto all the bones, and now I'm coming back with black ink, or you could use black paint, and I'm just drawing in some definition, whether it be the eye sockets or the spaces between the ribs, to create that contrast. With the weapons and the shield that you can see, I'm using a dark metallic, so I'm using bolt gun, which is like a lead belcher, or any dark gunmetal will work. I guess my thinking was that silver would just look like a bright disc or a bright blob versus I like how the dark of the metallic here looks in comparison to the white of the bone. And again, I'm just trying to create shapes that are going to show through nicely on the outer cube, and I'm not highlighting these weapons. I'm literally just painting them with one coat of the dark metallic. And eventually I come back with that black ink I'd been using and I paint the handles of the weapons black once again so it'll show through clearly. I'm going to keep repeating that because it's really the whole point of this exercise. So here's how everything looks after having painted it, and here's how it looks through the sides of the cube, and you see how you can make out more clearly that there's skeletons and bones and weapons and shields in there as opposed to just shapes, although if I spin it that fast you can't see anything. I decided I wanted the goop on the inside part to show darker, so it created a more interesting three-dimensional vibe to the whole cube. And I'm using just the plasma fluid and just on the back side, so the inside of it. And what that's going to do is create a dark background behind the white bones and help them pop even more. A really important step is going to be to gloss the outside of the cube, especially after using those tints, which are going to dry probably a little matte. I'm not happy with the final gloss effect I achieved, and in fact I was going back with like Ard Coat from GW and just not quite getting the gloss I wanted. So you're going to want to look for a gloss product you're happiest with. Maybe it's Tester's Gloss Spray or something like that, but you really want to pull the gloss out on that outside. So here I'm trying to show the glossiness of the sides. It's a little hard to see. Here's the final cube. I'm quite happy with the colors and the translucence and the being able to see the contents inside the cube. And like I said, I just wish I had done a better job with the gloss. I also used super glue to glue the two pieces together, and I think that did some frosting on the bottom of the cube, so maybe you're going to want to avoid using super glue for this. And that's it. Like I said, this is a quick one, and not a lot of actual painting needed to be done, just given the nature of the gelatinous cube. Hope you found this kind of fun and interesting. Hit like if you did, and consider subscribing for more videos that'll be coming soon. Thanks a lot for watching. We'll see you next time.